Ah yes, the Charger. This is a nameplate that has a lot of history for the Dodge brand. Now, a lot of the older generation will remember this car back in the 60s when it was a two-door muscle car. That still is the case today. This is the current 2012 model, significantly updated for 2011. And of course, Dodge brought back this nameplate back in 2006 to compete with the likes of the Ford Taurus, the Chevrolet Impala, and the Toyota Avalon. Now, of course, being a Dodge, they had to have their own uniqueness to the vehicle, and unlike the other vehicles, this one is rear-wheel drive, just like the old model from the past. So, let's take a look and see if Dodge managed to carry over the heritage from the 60s car on the current generation. Completely updated for 2011, what you're looking at is essentially the second generation of the Charger sedan. 2012, the vehicle was updated even more. There are now 5 trim levels available for the Charger. What you're looking at is the SE model. That's at the bare bones. From there on, you can move up to the SXT, the RT, and then of course the 2 SRT models. There's the SRT8 and then the SRT8 Super B. The SE, what you essentially get, is a very attractive full-size sedan. Now, as you can see, the styling of this vehicle is not going to appeal to everyone. It's kind of it has a very aggressive stance, and it's not designed to be a full-size sedan that is going to blend in with the crowd. If you want to blend in with the crowd, go get a Toyota Avalon or a Hyundai Azera. Well, at least the new Azera is a lot nicer. But this one definitely stands out for its masculine appearance and its in-your-face styling. It definitely has the family resemblance of the Dodge brand. Those 17-inch wheels are standard equipment on the SE model, and they look a little bit plain to me. Of course, they're going to be pretty easy to clean. This one's just in, Chrysler's standard white exterior color. You can see this one also lacks fog lights. It's a pretty basic car. And in terms of, the competition, of course, like I mentioned, there's the Ford Taurus, the Chevrolet Impala. Those are the 2 main American competitors. And then, of course, you also have the Toyota Avalon, the Hyundai Genesis. That one kind of competes with this car more in the line as both are rear-wheel drive. And like I said, rear-wheel drive is the main reason why you purchase this vehicle. And for 2012 as well, there is the new 8-speed automatic transmission that is paired with the V6. This one, of course, does not have it because it's an SE. The SE still comes with Chrysler's 5-speed automatic transmission. Now, standard equipment list is pretty generous even on this base SE. You still get Chrysler's smart key access and push-button start. Here is the new Chrysler or Dodge key for the vehicle. It looks much better than the old one. To lock the doors, just push this button right here, and the doors will lock for you. To unlock the doors, come here and put your hand there, and you can see it's pretty responsive. It unlocks the doors for you. Now, looking inside, this one does have a completely updated interior from the cheap plasticky interiors of the previous generation. Now, stepping inside, the roofline is surprisingly pretty low, so you do have to duck your head a tad. And of course, like I said, push button start, so just put your foot on the brake and push the button to start the engine. You can immediately, as soon as I'm stepping in here, the interior has a much more higher quality ambient feel. Now, the windows are automatic up-down for the driver and the front passenger only, not the rear passengers. And you can see here the interior is completely updated. The previous generation, first generation, was dinged for a horribly cheap interior. This is much better. You have soft touch materials on the dashboard. It's a very substantial feeling soft touch plastic. It's not very pliable, but the graining is pretty nice. I'm a big fan of this trim right here, this carbon fiber alloy look trim. It looks much better than the cheap silver painted plastic. You can see that little touchscreen radio is new for 2012. It's part of Chrysler's Uvo system. Now the SE comes with this smaller screen. If you go for any of the higher trims, it'll give you a big 8.4-inch touchscreen, which is actually bigger than the My Ford Touch system. And you can see it's a pretty responsive touchscreen. Ford definitely could use or take some advice from Chrysler on how to make their touchscreens more responsive like this. It's just really fast on how to switching between modes. This one also has the connectivity group, which comes with the Bluetooth access system. So it's a fairly well-equipped car. Now, coming to the steering wheel, this is a new steering wheel for 2011, and it's got pretty fat rim, no bolstering extensions, but you have of course your Bluetooth buttons here, you have your voice commands, you have cruise control, and then of course on the back, like every other Chrysler, you have your volume controls on the back. I really think they should just find some real estate to put it on the front, because the back is kind of counterintuitive. Now, coming to the door panels, it is the same soft touch materials with a pretty decent chrome door handle, leather stitching right here, leather stitch right there where your elbows are going to rest. It's all pretty nice stuff. It's all hard plastic down here with a pretty sharp edge, but at least you get some storage. Now, like I said, 5-speed automatic is the transmission on the SE models and the V8 models. You can get the 8-speed auto if you choose an SXT trim. You can distinguish the 8-speed auto from its unique gear shifter. It actually kind of looks like a video game as opposed to the traditional gear shifter, this one. But you do get a manual mode. There's no sport mode or anything like that. I'll show you guys how the 5-speed auto drives. It's a little bit antiquated in today's age. Now, coming to the glove compartment, it's a very nice size. Two-tier storage, and you have lined with felt, and it's damped as well. Opening the center console right here, you'll find your aux port and your USB and your power port. It's actually lighted, so it's a pretty nicely finished center console. Nice cup holder lid, pretty sturdy feeling lid as well. The interior in here is pretty attractive. Chrysler's done a really good job upgrading it. Now, coming to the back seat, this is a full-size sedan, so you kind of expect it to have a large back seat, and it's decent. You do have to duck your head again just because of the low roof line. You do get vents back here and a power port. Pretty large center tunnel here for the rear drive shaft. So mostly the seat is reserved for just 2 people, but you do got decent storage. The materials are still soft touch on the back doors, so Chrysler carried over. Still a little bit of storage as well. There's an armrest here as well, with nasty cup holders, but no additional storage, just cup holders. And the headrests, surprisingly, are not height adjustable. Now, coming to the trunk of the Charger, now, one of the reasons why you purchase a full-size sedan is for its trunk space. This is where the Charger actually disappoints a little bit. It only measures 15.4 cubic feet, which is actually not that much larger than, what you get on a mid-size sedan, like a Honda Accord or a Ford Fusion or a Hyundai Sonata. The Ford Taurus and Chevrolet Impala offer about 20 cubic feet. If you're looking for the biggest trunk, definitely go with the other American manufacturers. Under the hood, you'll find Chrysler's latest V6. This is their corporate 3.6-liter Pentastar V6. They're very proud of this engine. It makes 292 horsepower and 260 pound-feet of torque. A big improvement over the 2 anemic V6s that were available in the past, which were a 2.7, which were horrible. It had 178 horsepower. And then the 3.5, which made 250. This is a big, heavy, full-size sedan. And the V6 used to be considered, the poor man's Charger, the one that you'd buy because you couldn't afford the V8. Now Dodge says that you can actually go for the V6 and be pretty satisfied. You don't necessarily need the V8. So let's take a look at how the 3.6 drives. So let's say you guys wanted a Challenger or a Mustang, but you really needed 4 doors. Well, that's what the Charger is for. So let's take a look at how it drives. Now, the engine in the vehicle actually sounds pretty nice. I really like Chrysler's corporate 3.6-liter Pentastar V6. Now, from behind the wheel, right as soon as you put it in drive and start turning the wheel, you'll notice that this car is huge. It feels big. The visibility in here is not the best. You have pretty thick A-pillars right here. And of course you have a long hood, you have a really long ass in the back, and it's just a very wide vehicle. I mean, this is why a lot of people buy full-size sedans, because they want the space that the vehicle offers, and this offers a lot of space. It does feel more roomy in here than Ford's own Taurus, I will give them that. And acceleration from the new V6 is actually quite impressive. I used to drive the 3.5 liters as in the 2010 models, and I can tell you that that engine was just horrid. It was decent, but it was paired with a 4-speed auto. The 5-speed auto, on the other hand, is much improved over the 4-speed. Maybe it's just because the V6 has 292 horsepower now and it's better. But I would like to test drive one with the 8-speed auto, just because the 5-speed auto is a little bit antiquated. The gears are pretty closely spaced. You can see first gear goes until about 40 to almost 50 miles per hour, then it finally shifts into second. It seems like very odd gearing, and they do that for gas mileage. Now, by the way, which the 5-speed auto is rated at 1827. If you go with the new 8-speed auto, you get 1931, so there's a reason to choose the 8-speed auto. But everything else about the vehicle is really comfortable. The seats are comfortable. The cloth has a decent fabric to it. It's pretty decent feeling. It doesn't feel the best, but it's okay. The ride is very nice. That's the one thing that Chrysler did a good job with, is the ride quality of this vehicle is nice. I'd like to see how the fatter tires do on like the V8 models and the SRT, but it's very quiet in here, and it's a very easy car to live with day to day. And if you're looking for, the space of a full size, which I'm not, but some people are, and I don't blame them, it's a very comfortable long distance cruiser. Now, off the line, the vehicle actually feels pretty responsive. They've tuned the V6 to give you a pretty good response. The one good thing about the Charger that I really like, though, is the fact that it's rear-wheel drive. For some reason, I'm just really attracted to the fact that it's rear drive, that I can do burnouts in this car. You can't do that with a front-wheel drive car. It also makes for a better balanced vehicle. The handling of this car is pretty neutral. I mean, you feel the weight of it, and the steering is pretty responsive. It changes directions pretty well. However, it's tad numb. But you just feel, you get a sense that you're driving a sportier, full-size family car as opposed to, you know, like that boat-feeling Toyota Avalon. And I haven't driven the new Azera, but I can tell you that the old Azera literally felt like an old-person car. It was horrible in how, you know, mushy everything was. But this is actually quite decent, you know, and if I was going to go for a full-size sedan, the Charger could be at the top of my list, although I probably would never buy a full-size sedan anyways, just because I don't really need the space. But I really like the appeal that, you know, Dodge has built into this vehicle. Of course, despite the fact that it's huge, it has a pretty tight turning radius. I'm pretty impressed right there. You can see here it definitely could use more gears there. You can see the acceleration's pretty strong, and the V6 makes a pretty nice sound. So, if you guys are in the market for a full-size sedan, even though the market is dying, and you're looking for something different, the Charger definitely offers that with its rear drive architecture and available V8 engine. So if you're in the market for one, I highly suggest taking one out for a test drive and see if you like it. Anyways, thanks so much for watching. I appreciate you guys later.